We haven't watched game 3 yet. Okay, so for Tarbell here, I'm going to just try to narrate everything I'm doing, right? So rally the first probe, obviously down to... It's fine, Whitecat, not a big deal, dude. Rally the first probe down to do the pylon. And what we're going to do is we're going to get 7 adepts. And we're going to go across the map, see what we can get done. And then we're going to have a follow-up push with 2 immortals, a prism, about 6 sentries, and as many adepts as we can wrap our hands on, with our finances being whatever they are in that moment in the game. This is not really where I want to place that, but sure. I'll try to get into the game here. I'll narrate as much as I can as we go. Little scout around, hit both thirds, make sure we know what is going on. I like to kind of just ping pong the probe on a shift path. I'm holding down shift right now. Sorry, I actually
hold position.
Gotta do this. Okay, cool. Cool.
Operation
cool. Yeah, so I was just holding down shift while I'm doing that, right? Just rallying back and forth between these two. This probe, right, goes there. Hotkey that. We're going to put our second probe into this gas. Second probe goes into that gas, and then we're going to cut probes until our cyber is done. Okay? So if we look, this is going to rally there. This is going to make our cyber core. It's actually like, it seems like a little thing, but it's pretty important. Now we're resuming probe production. That's an intentional probe cut there. We need to get this gas done. And then we make sure we don't pylon block. Make sure we don't pylon block. I'm gonna have to try really hard to not do my my Stargate like macro play because I've been doing it so much. Okay, so now we need Twilight. Get our Twilight tech. You can take that at the wall if you want to. It's fine if you want to do it that way. I actually think I was supposed to get my Adept and my Warp Gate first. In the long haul, it's not going to be a huge difference, but that is a mistake. It's definitely a mistake by me. Alright, so this is going to finish. That'll cure up the supply issues that we're having. We need to get 1 chrono into this gateway and 1 chrono into Warp Gate before they finish. That's actually super, super important to do. We need to get 2 more gateways, but the most important thing is that we get Glaive started immediately and get 1 chrono into it. I think that it's actually slightly better if you're able to get a chrono into probes first, and you still should be able to get your chronos into those other buildings before you lose your opportunity to do so, if that makes sense. One more gate, actually.
We don't have enough minerals. Need more minerals for that. That'll cost more than our probes.
Okay, so there is a 3rd base. I should have actually pulled that probe home.
Our probes are under attack.
So we're going to get 4 adepts out of this gateway, and then we're going to get a warp in off of each of the other ones. Does that make sense? So that's a total of 7, and that's what we're going to push with. And we can chrono probes. So, you see how I have this energy to dump these chronos into my workers? If I had done that sooner, and then instead done other stuff after, that would have been a bit better, right? That makes sense? You should have enough to get your robo and also do your warpins of these adepts. Okay. We don't quite have what we need here. There it goes. It's done. So that's because I didn't start my Warp Gate research on time, that the timing just kind of like doesn't quite work out.
Construct additional pylons.
And this pylon block is kind of an issue, right? Should be about done. So you can see, like, I haven't been practicing this build very much, right?
Let your will be heard. Glory to the day.
So we're not that worried about this, right? We can literally just kill it.
construct additional pylons.
Cool. This doesn't need to be there.
Glorious combat is upon us.
This is not good. We want these in here. This needs to be making immortals.
I have met the enemy. Spare none who oppose us. Slay. Yes, Executor. May your death be sealed.
So now we want to focus on working in sentries. And we need a bunch of gateways. And so you can see I spent a little bit of time. I floated some money there. That's okay. You just need to know how you're going to spend it. Oops, so you guys go there. We needed a gas and we didn't take that gas. That's going to be problematic in a minute here because we're not going to be able to work on enough sentries. So I think I'm going to compensate by taking 2 gases here. I'm kind of trying to wing this a little bit. This is me stealing this Adept. That's going to be my Hodor Adept. We talked about that earlier. So I should be able to warp in 3 right now. I'm not able to because I kind of messed up the macro a little bit. Let's get 2 more probes here. Okay, now we're going to get our that thing, right? We're going to get our that thing. We're going to Chrono. We are going to morph all of these gates. I maybe should have a couple more. Okay, so this is good. Opponent is just making lings and lings and lings. We like that quite a bit. What we need to be wary of is, are there mutas? So we are going to hallucinate Scout. The only purpose of this Scout is to see are there mutas.
Glory to the day.
Pylons, 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 pylons. Just spam them out. Don't worry about it.
It shall be done.
We don't have enough minerals.
The firstborn shall persevere.
Okay, what do we see? Some mutatech? Is there mutatech? We don't know. We don't know. We need to know, but we don't know right now. So we're going to hallucinate again. We're going to send it in. We're going to see what we can see. We need to group our stuff up. This is not good. This is not good. Drop. Open. It's a little sloppy here.
Need more minerals for that.
Glory to the Daylon.
We still don't see mutatech. Still don't see mutatech, so we should be able to kill. Should be able to kill here. If you want, you can cut a few of these, send them to the other base, and then go attack. Mass Adepts up. Add them to your hotkey group. Attack in. Attack in.
Glory to the Daylon.
Move your prism up. Get your hotkeyed again.
I have met the enemy.
Move a bunch of Adepts. Hotkey them. Make sure you turn on Guardian Shield. You can cut off their reinforcements. This kind of thing. Make them fight in a way that's not favorable for them.
Glory to the
We lost our Immortals, which is not great.
glorious combat is upon
More
us.
minerals for that.
The firstborn shall persevere.
GG. So while all of that fight was happening, I'd shaded a bunch here. So Tiguan's mineral line is just gone, right? So the only thing that that is kind of problematic is if they have mutatech. The reason that I got kind of freaked out and re-scouted is usually if they have a lair and they don't have a Hydrogen, there is a Spire somewhere clever. If you scout the Spire and you need to do something about it, then all it takes is one big warping round of Stalkers instead of Adepts, and you're completely perfectly safe. I thought you were going to do the Archon Zealots. Yeah. So the Stargate into Archon Zealot thing is what I do nowadays in my macro play. This is kind of my fun, like, special build. Are you able to get a VOD, put it on YouTube, put the build order on Spawning Tool, something like that? Absolutely, Tarbell. I will do all of those things for you. I will do all of it. I'm going to make a note right now. I'm going to make a note. Let's make a stream marker So I can put that VOD. Okay, so let's go Twitch notes. I'm going to put it at the very top. Okay, at the very top. Make VOD and build order, etc. for Tarbell SC2. And then I have your email, so I will email out. Oh, Tarbell, thank you so much for the sub. I am very honored to earn that from you. Yeah, I will put all that together and make sure that you have some resources to learn that. Now, this absolutely will stop working. I can definitely hit opponents that are good enough at holding this that they just kind of make it look dumb. So you will eventually have to learn how to play sort of a proper macro style. But what's nice about this is that almost any cheese they're going to do is going to lose to your build anyway. So the only people that you're going to lose to are really, really strong defensive Zergs. And then it's also just a nice way to get really, really good at a handful of kind of important Protoss fundamentals. So to do this build and have it work, you have to have the ability to control a prism while you're moving your army, the presence of mind to remember to make stuff under it. You have to learn how to watch out for queens. You have to get some practice with force fielding, and when is it possible to do that? One thing that I did a bad job of in this game, let's see if we can go back and look at it. So actually two things I did a bad job of. This move out cost us some time because I didn't realize that I accidentally moved my army, some of it through the middle. Having either of these push paths would have been kind of okay, but both of them at once is not okay, right? So I kind of have to do this thing where I save it by lifting up a bunch of things, right? But let's go look at where I lose the Immortals. That's actually a pretty crucial thing. And this is, as you get more comfortable just doing the build. So at first, in Gold League Tarbell, this is going to be hard for you. You're going to have to really drill just to even get the timings of this crisp enough for it to work. But eventually, once you kind of iron that out, the sort of next level thing starts to be the army control, right? So you can start doing things like shading a small amount of adepts that you've removed from your army group forward. You can shade them forward, they get vision, and if you shade them at the right time, which I did not do here, the shade is too early. If we watch, it's not gonna, I don't think, yeah, it doesn't get to the mineral line before it finishes. So that gets you vision, and it can harass a mineral line, which is really nice. I end up shading a bunch in later, which ends up being a little too much. So some kind of quirky problems with my army control here. But let's look at losing the Immortals, because that's the bit that I really want to talk about when I'm talking about learning Protoss fundamentals by doing this pretty strong all-in in PvZ. So this shade is too much. This leaves my sentries and my Immortals undefended, because they don't have a bunch of adepts to buffer for them. So I really should have just grabbed another, I don't know, 4 or 5, and shaded those in instead. That would have been much, much better to do. It ended up being okay-ish, just because I had a bunch that didn't make it in that shade group because they weren't hotkeyed. Now let's watch these boys, okay? We're going to watch the story of these Immortals. Tiguan targets them down. Why does Tiguan target them down? Because this is what actually deals the damage to the roaches. Adepts don't deal damage to roaches very quickly at all. These ladies are good at killing drones, they're good at killing lings, and they are extra hit points for our Immortals and our sentries. And that's kind of their role. So what do? Well, if this prism is, say, here instead, if it's slightly more in position, you click your Immortal, you right-click your prism, and then you hit D, and you click your prism again. So that says pick up the Immortal, and then D-click says drop the Immortal. So he basically teleports from here to underneath the prism, which would hopefully be like right here. Now he's in the back ranks. The roaches lose their targeting, and he happily goes to town, teeing off on the roaches again. Now, I didn't do that, and you see Tiguan is able to just click this down, and then proceed to click down the other one. And that actually loses a lot of my punching power, and that's pretty good by Tiguan, right? If Tiguan had more roaches, then it might be bad to click down the Immortals with all of them, because not all would be able to hit, but all of these were hitting my Immortals, and they click them down really quick. Meanwhile, right, I have way too many Adepts over here, and now I've got sentries stranded with these roaches, and I'm having to frantically warp in. You saw me start like picking up sentries and dropping them in the same way I'm describing that I should have been doing with the Immortals, just to try to save some of my value units. I was actually a little bit afraid this was going to go wrong enough that I would have to try to macro out and rely on the fact that I'd kind of decimated some drone lines, but we ended up just barely being able to eke out the win. But some pretty serious control issues on my part, and this is what I mean when I say, like, you can really, really work on some pretty important fundamental skills, even though you're doing kind of an all-in. It's not, you know, honorable macro play and stuff like that. Little things like, depending on how the fight's going, if you're really winning, you're going to supply cap, right? Because you're making adepts and adepts and adepts and adepts and adepts. So the skill of, okay, I'm looking at my army. I'm going to look back. I'm going to quickly spam out pylons. You see what a mess my base is? It's because we're just like trying to quickly make this stuff, you know, in the absolute minimal amount of time and then get back to the fight. The plan is to try to macro out. If it fails, reset GG. Mostly in my experience, it's been GG. I used to take a third right when I was moving out. Now I kind of don't even fool myself. I just make a couple extra gateways. I forgot to morph these. Whoops. And I'll just kind of use that money for more adepts and just say, you know what, it's an all-in. The only way that I think it would not be is if they just somehow barely hold, but you decimated their economy. Maybe a good follow-up would be a second Robo, and maybe to get some upgrades going. And then Templar Tech. I think those would be some good follow-ups. If you want a little bit of a slightly more middle of the road, you can drop the Templar Tech and the third base as you're moving out and have less gateways, but I've not tested that. I don't know how well it would work. If you want something that is more, you know, honest and true to macro play, and then I think you could look more at some of my YouTube VODs. I'll send you these two of the Charge a Lot Pressure, Charge a Lot Archon Pressure. It'll teach you a lot of the same skills, but it's a lot harder. It is a lot harder, just in terms of all the different things that you have to do.